Kristen Solomon, Court Liaison Advocate for Right Turn Impact. Today I'm meeting with Lenny Stamm, Esquire, at his offices in Greenbelt, Maryland.
Hi, Kristen. Welcome to Goldstein & Stamm.
Hi, Susan. Thank you so much. Lenny, hi. So good to see you.
Good to see you. Come on back.
All right.
My name's Lenny Stamm. I am a criminal defense lawyer. September 4th will be my 41st anniversary of practicing law. And how I got started, I went to law school at Catholic Law School, graduated in 1983, and before I graduated, I got a job as a law clerk at a general practice law firm in College Park. And after a couple of months there, I met the criminal lawyer, Alan Goldstein, and we kind of hit it off. And I did some work that he really liked when I figured out that somebody who'd been arrested by the state police on the Maryland Beltway the DC Beltway couldn't be prosecuted because it was federal property. And after I did the research and got that together for Alan, he decided to make me his law clerk. And we worked on a lot of criminal cases. He had when Lenny Bias died of a cocaine overdose, we did that case. And then Alan did a lot of DUI cases, among other things. And he passed in 1991, and I took over his practice. And one of the things I did was I reached out to other lawyers across the country that Alan had introduced me to. I got involved in the National College for DUI Defense. I signed a deal with West, wrote a book on DUI law. And one of the things that, there are a couple of things that I find really interesting about, criminal defense and especially drunk driving defense. DUIs are complicated because they involve law, they involve science, and they also involve trying to help people and their families get through a very difficult phase in their lives when, one of the family members is charged with a crime that could land them in jail, they could lose their job, they could be deported. There are all kinds of adverse consequences, and a lot of times what happens in court and at the MVA is not the worst that happens to them, it's the collateral consequences. And I tell all my clients that as a lawyer, in order to go into court and to represent them properly, we need to be prepared both for trial and for sentencing. And for sentencing, what a lot of times happens is a lot of the people who have DUI, get charged with DUI, have a drinking problem. And what a DUI arrest is really, it's kind of a government intervention, telling somebody, okay, nothing you've done to control your drinking to this point has worked, and now the government's getting involved and telling you it's time to get your shit together. And that's where, I refer my clients. When I first started doing this 40 years ago, we never sent anybody into treatment. We went to court. If they lost the case, the judge might have them do a few classes. But what's happened over the years is the treatment community has gotten a lot more involved in helping people with alcohol issues and helping them. I tell clients, not only do I want to win this case, but I want to win all the future cases, because if you get your shit together, you're never going to have to go through this again. So we want to, my job is to get them the best possible result. And one of the more recent developments has been that most of the police officers I deal with are wearing body cameras. And the body cameras very accurately record the video as well as the audio of what's happening at the scene. And if the person appears, really messed up on the video, then it's probably going to be a plea. We're trying to negotiate for a result. And if they look pretty good on the video, then it may be, most likely is going to be a trial, and we're not going to concede anything. And of course, you have all your procedural, there are lots of procedures, rules, you got to know the ins and outs. But the bottom line is one of my favorite places to use is Right Turn, because at Right Turn, one thing is they have court liaisons who come to court and talk about your treatment, and they provide a very professional presentation to the judge. In these cases, all of these cases have aggravating and mitigating circumstances. So the aggravating circumstances could be a prior DUI, it could be that there's an accident, it could be that people were hurt, or that the client was disrespectful to witnesses or to the police. And the mitigating part is that the person acknowledges that they've got a problem. It could be a drinking problem. There could be also emotional issues that are involved, or they could be, it could be emotional and a physical addiction. But when the person comes into court and they're apologetic for what they've done and also have taken concrete steps to make sure that the conduct doesn't repeat itself, they're going to get a better result. From the prosecutors are going to show them respect, as well as the judges will show them respect and give them an opportunity to prove that they can maintain their sobriety after the case is over. And for a lot of clients, the issue is not really whether they can maintain their sobriety for a year or two, but really whether 5 or 10 years from now they're not going to see an old college buddy and say, hey, I can have a beer or 2 beers and go out, and next thing you know they get another DUI. And I have clients that unfortunately come back to me every 5 or 10 years, and my goal is to get them a level of treatment that reduces the odds of them ever getting in trouble again. So hopefully by the time the case is over, I don't need that client's repeat business. There are plenty, unfortunately, of clients, and if there weren't, I wouldn't be able to survive doing this for over 40 years. I've been doing it over 40 years. I've been making a decent living. I'm not getting rich. I'm not suing doing multi-million-dollar lawsuits, but I think that I get a lot more joy, and it's a much bigger reward when you're helping people with their problems, and they can call you 10 years later. And I do have some clients who call me 10 years later and tell me, I just want you to know I'm still sober, and that makes it all worth it.
Lenny, could you please tell us why you continue to use Right Turn Impact for your clients, why you trust Right Turn for your clients?
In a lot of these cases, especially if the person's been in trouble for DUI before and they have prior 2, 3, 4, 5 prior convictions, the judge and the prosecutor are going to thinking, if the person's found guilty, that jail is an appropriate disposition in the case. And what I really like about Right Turn is it provides an alternative to jail. So the person can go in and get treatment, and many times the prosecutors and judges will find that because they went to Right Turn, they don't need to go to jail. So, it's nice to have Right Turn as a backup. If I go to trial and lose, or if we end up pleading guilty, many times the client can avoid going to jail if they've done the treatment. And so they're getting 2 benefits. They're staying out of jail, and they're also receiving help and guidance that can help them in the future so that they don't have to go through this again, because it's incredibly stressful to have to go through this process, and you want to kind of put an end to this destructive cycle that many of these clients are going through.
100%.